This temporal bone is not just merely a bony structure, but a delicate architectural marvel that protects and supports some of the most intricate and essential sensory mechanisms of the human body, thus said by Charles Bell. This bone represents a remarkable example of biological engineering. Its complexity goes far beyond a simple protective structure, serving as a sophisticated hub for sensory, neural, vascular, and muscular functions. The ossification of the temple bone is a very complex and carefully timed process that begins during fetal development and continues well into the adolescence. Each component of the temple bone has its unique ossification pattern, reflecting the intricate nature of skeletal development. This bone, as we proceed to know, has been related to 5th cranial nerve, 6th cranial nerve, 7th and 8th cranial nerve, even 9th and 10th cranial nerves. So good as almost 6 cranial nerves it is related to, and has a close relation with the sigmoid sinus, interjugular vein, superior inferior petrosal sinuses, internal carotid artery with sympathetic plexus, and even labyrinthine vessels. This bone is, as it is complex in development, it is known to have a lot of variations. The right and left bones itself in a single individual are variable. We already seen the different parts of the temporal bone. As we are going to do the mastoidectomy procedure, let us do little more onto the mastoid bone itself. All the mastoid surgeries will begin from a junctional area called as McEwen's triangle. This is the root of the zygoma. When you extend the root of the zygoma posteriorly over the canal and backwards, you can see a crest-like thing that is called as supramastoid crest, which is a demarcating line which above this supramastoid crest inside will be the middle cranial fossa with temporal lobe of the brain. So there is a dural plate located at this level. Then we have this posterior superior meatal wall, and in many a time there will be a bony spicule. That this bony spicule is called as spine of Henle, and a line drawn along the bony posterior superior meatal wall like this. And if you draw a tangential line touching these both supramastoid crest, posterior superior meatal wall, and a tangential line, it will define a small triangular area. This triangular area is called as McEwen's triangle, and many times it is having a small cribriform nature, perforated area. This is an important landmark for mastoid antrum. If you start drilling from here, if you go around 1.25 to 1.50 centimeters deep, there is the location of mastoid antrum, and from there you can trace other ear cells. That is the important landmark. The remaining is this is a mastoid process proper, which develops later in the childhood after 2 years. This prominence may not be there in the children, so then you have to be very, very careful when you are doing the mastoid surgeries in children. This lateral part of the mastoid process projects as this is called as the tip of the mastoid, and posteriorly it articulates with the occipital bone, and at that site there will be a emissary foramina transmitting emissary vein passing here and connects the sigmoid sinus inside the mastoid bone. It may also transmit a branch of the occipital artery. If you go to the medial part of the mastoid, you can see a clear-cut groove there. That is called as a mastoid notch or digastric notch. As the name indicates, this notch is for posterior belly of the digastric muscle, which is lodged there. And by the side, there will be a groove for occipital artery. Mastoid notch is the mastoid notch, and there will be groove for occipital artery. This mastoid, when you go anteriorly, it is communicating or joining with the tympanic part of the temporal bone. This will be the tympanomastoid suture, and If you go still posteriorly between the mastoid and this is the styloid process, you have the stylomastoid foramina, from where the facial nerve will be emerging out. The pure motor part of the facial nerve will be emerging out. This mastoid bone has its own air cell system inside. From the mastoid antrum, there will be invagination into the bone, different small air pockets. Those are called as mastoid air cell system. We'll see them in the next video.